One of my primary fears about COVID-19 isn't so much that we would get sick, though that is a concern. My greatest fear, or one of the greatest fears that I have about COVID-19 is that the church will come out the other side of this whole pandemic and we will not have learned really anything. Another way of saying that is we will have wasted a perfectly good trial. Trials come into our life for many reasons, and all of them come under God's sovereign plan, and we ought to learn from them. And I think it really is a tragedy for us to waste trials. Trials have the possibility or the potential to be some of the most rich seasons of growth in the Christian's life. We look back, they're terrible to go through, but man, looking back on them, some of the trials in my own life have been, in retrospect, some of the richest seasons of growth, where I've learned the most. I've learned the most about myself. I've learned the most about God, or about life. And I think we would all agree, well, yeah, we have learned a lot. We have now a functioning vocabulary that I never had before. I think in all of my 34 years prior to this, I never used the word social distancing once. I never used, or I had the need to use, morbidity rates, contagions, pandemics, epidemics. I don't know what a COVID is, or coronavirus. We have this brand new vocabulary. We have now social habits where if someone gets too close to you at the grocery store, they are warmly greeted with a scowl and quickly moved away from. We've learned a lot in that way. But those really aren't the life lessons that I hope the church comes out learning. If I never have to use the word social distancing again, I will be a happy person. But what are you learning about your need for other people? Has this season, and I get that we want things to be normal. That's not what I'm talking about. I know that we have a systemized life where we want things to feel normal and regular again, and we're comfortable there, and we desire it for those reasons. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, have we learned as really hyper-independent Americans that we desperately need one another? We desperately need our brothers and sisters in the church. That if you cut off a Christian from normal, regular fellowship with the saints, their spiritual life actually starts to really languish. I hope that that's something that we learn through all this. Is that, yes, while we knew theologically, I need the church, I need God's people, I hope we learn it on a whole deeper level. And we start to view church not as optional, but as if I don't have the assembly of the saints, my spiritual life begins to die, as it were. There's other lessons that I hope we learn. I hope we learn that work is often an idol that we worship at, and that we think our careers should be all-consuming. I hope that we learn that that's just a lie that the world would have us believe that we shouldn't believe. I hope we learn that we need rest and time with our family far more than we were used to. As Americans, we live a fast-paced, busy life where we're torn 1,000 different directions. I hope one of the things we take away from this is, you know what? The season where we have with our children is a fixed season. And that those years are not years we will ever get back. So we should cherish them and treasure them for as long as God gives them to us. I hope we learn that busyness is not the key of godliness. They're not the same thing whatsoever. But more than all of those, and there's so many. We, as a pastor who's now taken away from seeing the people that I love and preaching to the people that I love, and I'm realizing just how much of my own identity was wrapped up there. Like I had begun to identify myself or see my worth based on some of the things that I do. I think we've all probably, I hope, experienced that to some degree, where we're realizing that there are things that I do, but they don't necessarily define me or give me worth or give me value. I think it's good. It's not fun to ask those questions or to learn those lessons, but I think they're vitally important. But I think as life has been kind of constricted in during this season, what a travesty if we emerge from this without a greater knowledge of Jesus Christ. If we can come out of this pandemic, out of this, really, it's been a very difficult season. If we can come out of this trial and difficulty not having a deeper, greater, richer knowledge of Jesus Christ, what a waste. What a wasted trial. If we can come out saying that we did not taste and see the sweetness of Jesus in these trials, where we realized in new and fresh ways that he is all sufficient, that he is sweeter than anything else in life, that his company is more precious to us than any other, and we can come out without a greater love for him, we've really wasted not just an opportunity, but something that we we desperately need to grow in Jesus Christ. So I want to challenge all of us. What do you want to learn in this season? At the top of that list needs to be, I want to know more of my Savior. I want to use, I think it was Paul Washer said during this season, we need to be shut up with Christ. That as we have more time to read, more time to pray, more time to be with him, that we should do that. And not just long for the return of our distractions, but to long that we would know Christ more deeply. I hope that's what we learn during this season.